So tonight we're going to continue with Ruth, and we're in chapter 4, and we're going to start with verse 11. And what had happened last week is Boaz had gathered all these elders at the gate, because the gate is where legal things happen. And so he brought them all to the gate, and he bought back the land that had belonged to Naomi and gave her a portion of the funds. And then, as a Goel, as a redeemer, he's taking Ruth to be his wife. Chapter 4, verse 11 of Ruth. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, "We are witnesses. The Lord Yahweh maketh the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. And do thou worthily in Ephratah," that's another name for Bethlehem, "and be famous in Bethlehem." So what they're doing is they're giving a blessing. They're asking a blessing from God on Ruth. And they're saying to be like Rachel and Leah. Okay, Jacob married Rachel and Leah, but it wasn't just those two women who contributed to the 12 tribes. Leah had a handmaiden, she had babies. Rachel had a handmaiden, and she had babies. So that was 4 women, actually, who contributed to that. So Jacob had 2 wives, but 4 women contributed to the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 12, "And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee, this young woman." So he's saying, let your house be like Pharez. Does anyone know who Pharez is? Well, I'm going to tell you. First, we're going to go back to Genesis 49. When Jacob was dying, he was in Egypt. He got all of his 12 sons around him, and he wanted to bless them. And I'm going to tell you the blessing that he gave to Judah. This is Genesis 49, verse 8. "And Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall raise him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah." That means the kingly line will come through Judah. "Nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come." Shiloh is a name for Christ. "And unto him, Christ, shall the gathering of the people be." So what's interesting is that in Revelation 5:5, Jesus is referred to as the Lion of the tribe of Judah. But now I'm going to go back to Genesis 38 and tell you who Pharez is. This is going to be a little surprising. So, Judah married a Canaanite, which he wasn't supposed to. Supposed to marry within his tribe, but he didn't. And he had 3 sons. He had Onan, and Shelah. And he married a girl named Tamar, and God killed him. So this was already a process in those days, even before it became law. He gave his next son to Tamar because the first son died, and his name was Onan, and he did things that displeased the Lord, and God killed him. So then Judah says, well, go back to your father's house, and when my youngest son Shelah has grown up, you can have him. So I'm going to start with verse 13 of Genesis chapter 38. "And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goes up to Timnath to shear sheep." That was a big party time. "And she put off her widow's garments from off of her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath, because she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was never given unto him." So she's going to pose as a harlot. She's going to pose as a prostitute. And when Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot because she had covered her face. I guess that's what harlots did in those days. They had some kind of shame or something. And he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that it was his daughter-in-law. And she said, Well, what'll you give me? Now she's going to make a deal. You're going to pay me, right, for this sexual act? And he said, I'll send you a kid of the flock. And she said, Will you give me a pledge until I get that? Give me something so I know for sure. And he said, Well, what do you want? And she said, Give me your ring and give me your cord. It must be something you had around his waist. And give me the staff that is in your hand. He said, Sure. He wanted sex. He gave it to her. And he came in unto her, and she conceived. The Lord caused her to conceive. And she arose and went away and put away the veil and put back on the garments of her widowhood. Now she's going to get that son she wanted. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend, but he couldn't find the woman. And then he asked the men of this place, saying, Where's the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There's no harlot in this place. Verse 24, And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. He doesn't know who it is, who the father is yet. And Judah said, Bring her forth and let her be burnt. Now think about it. He could go see a harlot, no problem. But if his daughter-in-law was a harlot with somebody else, she's going to burn. And when she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law by the man, Who these are, I am with child with. And she presented the staff and the ring and the cord. And Judah acknowledged them and said, She's been more righteous than I, because I didn't give my son Shelah. And he knew her nevermore again. So now here's the birth. Remember, this is Judah's child. And it came to pass in the time of travail that, behold, twins were in her womb. Now what they would do, what the midwife would do, even if they didn't know it was twins, when the first baby came out, they'd tie a scarlet ribbon around their wrists so that if there were twins, when you got two babies, they look alike. They're going to know which one was the firstborn. That was something that they did. And it came to pass when she travailed, the one put out his hand. One of the babies stuck his hand out. And the midwife took and bound up his hand with a scarlet thread, saying, This one came out first. And it came to pass, he drew back his hand. And behold, his brother came out. So his brother was actually the firstborn. And she said, You have broken forth. This is a breach upon you. Therefore, your name will be called Pharez. It means a breaking forth or a breach. So that's who Pharez is. And we're going to get to that line of knowing exactly who Pharez was in the line leading to Christ. So God is no respecter of persons. He has whom he will to be in that line. He is orchestrating the DNA the way he wants it to be when it finally gets to Mary. So here's the thing. When these men in the city are saying to be honorable like Pharez, because Pharez had a large family. His family was one of the 5 families which make up the tribe of Judah. There are only 5 families, and Pharez is one of them. And all the people in Bethlehem were descendants of Pharez. So was Boaz. He was in the line of Pharez. Now you know who Pharez is. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and he went in unto her, and the Lord gave her conception. She bare a son. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that thy name may be famous in Israel. That's her husband's name, Elimelech, because Ruth was married to one of Elimelech's sons, so it would carry on his name. And he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age. For thy daughter-in-law, which loved thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons, hath borne him. And her neighbors say, he's better than 7 sons. You know what 7 means? Complete, yeah. That would be complete, but this is better. And do you remember that when Naomi came back to Bethlehem, she said, call me Mara, because the Lord has been better to me, right? Now she's the happiest woman on the planet. She's got a grandchild. And even though it isn't directly related to her, it is legally. Legally, that's her grandson. And Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. Can you imagine what a lovely thing that is? She was the chief babysitter, and she was loving it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi. And they called his name Obed. Obed means servant or worshiper. He is the father of Jesse, and Jesse is the father of King David.
That's beautiful.
It is. This is going to give the genealogy here. Now, these are the generations of Pharez. You're going to hear some names you don't understand, but Pharez begat Hezron, and Hezron begat Ram, and Ram begat Amminadab, and Amminadab begat Nahshon, and Nahshon begat Salma, and Salma begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. So I want to tell you something about this genealogy. So David had a son named Solomon. That was the kingly line. And that is given in Matthew. That genealogy is given in Matthew. And that leads to Joseph, Mary's husband. But he's no relationship to Jesus. None. Well, David had another son, and his name was Nathan. And that genealogy is given in Luke. And this is Mary's genealogy. And so Jesus, even through Mary, is still called the son of David. And Jesus is our Goel. He is our kinsman redeemer. And just like Ruth had to claim Boaz, she had to claim him as her kinsman, so do we. We need to claim Christ as our kinsman redeemer. We have to make that act of trusting and believing in faith that he has redeemed us with his own precious blood.